All right, Tyler Perry fans. Now, I say Tyler Perry instead of have and have not fans because this is going to be encompassing both kind of the storyline of Acrimony, the movie that just dropped, and Veronica Harrington from the Haves and the Have Nots. So if you haven't seen the movie Acrimony yet, I would definitely suggest clicking off the video because there are going to be spoilers, because what I'll be doing is looking at some key elements of the film and then relating that to Veronica Harrington, because Taja P. Henson's character Melinda and her storyline kind of reminded me of Veronica from the Haves and the Have-Nots. So as I said before, there are going to be spoilers, so don't blame me in the comment section if you feel like I cheated you out of a ticket. Hey, that's your choice. So when I think about this actual video, I think I might title it something along the lines of, has Veronica's fate been revealed? Is Veronica going to be killed off? I have to be careful because YouTube is just tripping with the whole demonetization. So if you use certain words in a title of a video, then they'll mark it down from not making money, which sucks. But what I noticed when I looked at Acrimony was Melinda felt like she was betrayed, that she was entitled, and one of those situations where if I can't have my man, then nobody can. That really reminds me of Veronica Harrington, because I feel like the main difference though is when you look at Acrimony, Melinda was actually supporting Robert from the time they got married to when they eventually got the divorce. And he didn't have a job. He just worked on his rechargeable battery invention. He just studied, tried to perfect the battery. He didn't bring any bread to the table. He was pretty much living off Melinda, who inherited money and a house from her mother. And then it got to the point where she's working like a couple of jobs, and even Robert was just like, hey, take a mortgage out on your house so I can use that money to on the battery. The house is already paid for. So literally she gave up everything for him, like, the best years of her life, money, the house. And when he finally got an offer for $800,000 from the company that he's been for years trying to get a meeting with to pitch the battery idea, he turned it down. That money could have been used to save the house. He wanted a higher offer. Melinda got a divorce from him because she literally felt, like, I can't do this anymore. Not even 5 months later, I think, he gets a deal. It is multi-million dollars, but it turns out he's with the woman that he cheated on her with earlier in the film. Ironically enough, she was working at the company. They reconnected, not sexually, of course, but, because he did become like a changed man when they were married, and then set up the meeting and got the multi-million-dollar deal. But he's with her now, and Melinda's pissed off. Eventually had to get a restraining order, and they get married. She's pregnant. They're on a yacht. Melinda tries to kill Robert by shooting him, but then she ends up drowning and killing, and basically, ironically enough, kind of drowned by her own rage and anger. I look at Veronica Harrington and David's situation, where I don't believe that David was sponging off Veronica because they met in law school. He ended up practicing law, so did she, but then she got into her addiction, went to rehab, and then started vicinity, and was still she hasn't practiced law in a while. I feel like this was brought up in season 1 when Catherine wanted Veronica to help Hannah get Benny out of jail, because we know that he was blackballed or railroaded. And I think David said like, hey, I have concerns. It's it's been David, it's been a while since I practiced law, and it'll be fun to get into it. Well, what happened the last time? And I feel like, maybe the fact of her being a attorney, and then the stress because she hurt her back, and then she was addicted to painkillers. So maybe that high gave her that feeling of relaxation, because being an attorney is like a stressful job. So probably after her going into rehab and getting off the pills, she started her own facility and didn't practice law since. So that's probably why David was reluctant to have her help out. Not just because he had hands in getting Benny in jail in the first place, but because he did have legitimate concerns with her mental health. So it kind of plays into the whole Acrimony, where You have a woman that helped the man make it to where he is now, but then you decided to let it go before it. Basically, I love this meme. I don't even think of it as a meme. I think of it like an inspirational meme, if you will. It's kind of like people who give up right before they're going to strike it big. It's like one guy, has a pick and he's digging a tunnel and he gives up right like 2 inches away from a bunch of diamonds, while this other guy is like, picking on his tunnel and he's striking it big. I don't know if it's I'm not looking at the picture while I'm talking, because I think maybe one guy shows up where this guy left off and reaped the benefits because he didn't quit. It's like, if you put in a lot of work, time, love, devotion, and focus into something, then you shouldn't give up. Because at some point, somebody's going to swoop in and then reap the benefits of your hard work, whether you notice or not, because you might feel entitled. It's kind of like you've waited 15 minutes in line at Kroger to finally get to the cash register, but then you decide to get out of line for whatever reason, and then the person just swoops in behind you and automatically, gets the spot. Then you want to come back and take your spot, but it doesn't work that way. I guess you could say with Melinda, I can definitely see why, because Robert wasn't doing anything in terms of working. He was just working on the invention, not bringing in any income. He was just using up what money she had and what she earned. When I look at how her fate was decided in the film, it kind of showed us that, anger, jealousy, resentment, those things are more destructive than almost any other thing in the world. I mean, not counting bombs and guns and all that stuff. I'm talking metaphorically here. I feel like with Veronica, she has built up this so-called empire and she's letting it burn in front of her like Nero from the Roman Empire. Basically, it's kind of like Morris Day on Purple Rain. It's like, hey, what's wrong? Are your shoes too tight? Let's hit it from the top. I want to see some perfection. That's kind of like what I think of Veronica. It's like she wants this perfect life, but she has to be in full control. If she kind of sat back and let her son, live the life he wanted to live, and he's really the main reason, because there was a rift between David and Veronica. Maggie Day was kind of like another reason, but to be fair, David never had sex with her, but he was caught in a compromising position and then eventually did have sex with her. But with Veronica, it's kind of like she's destroying herself. That's the main thing from Acrimony. It's like the anger and rage you feel towards somebody, that's eating away at you, like you're destroying yourself. So when Taj P. Henson's character died at the end of the movie, it's kind of like, well, damn, that's what happens if you let all these feelings bottle up inside of you and you don't move on. If you're just stuck in the past and just keeping things the way they were, because eventually after divorce, I think Robert bought the house back for her as a show of good faith, because honestly, he owed her that and so much more. But I think Melinda actually wanted him back, but then found out he was with Diana. She was pregnant. They were engaged. She lost it. So it makes me think about the haves and the have-nots, especially the house metaphor. Because remember, Veronica was kind of like, oh, I wanted to live there, but he said it was too expensive. And now he bought a house for a girl he doesn't even know. It's kind of like, remember, she destroyed the house, like, burned it up. And then David actually bought that house in that nice neighborhood that basically her dream house. He was like, I never got the chance to show it to her because he thought they would reconcile and get back together, work out, the differences between them, but they never did. So he was actually going to put the house back on the market. But then Erica came into his life and he's like, hey, if you stay with me, I'll keep the house. It's too big for one person. So now Veronica's kind of driving up and looking through the window. That's the life that she could have. So I really think that she probably sees David and Erica having sex and she's going to lose it, because if Erica gets pregnant, I swear Veronica's going to kill somebody or kill herself. I feel like that's definitely going to happen. I feel like Veronica's self-destruct, not just with that, but the whole Jeffrey and Justin thing, that's another layer of craziness. I think what Tyler Perry did good with this movie is the fact that we saw an evolution of Melinda's character. We got some backstory when she was younger. We have her sisters in there as well. We have Robert. We got to see different dimensions of Melinda's. It's like we kind of gradually, kind of like, how onions have layer, Shrek reference there. We kind of saw the unpeeling of her psyche. Like, we saw the layers of her mind being torn apart, but basically at the end, she literally snapped. Like, her mental health was just gone. Like, going to that therapist, it just destroyed it. I feel like with Veronica, that's why I don't like her character. I feel like she's one of my favorite characters on the show, don't get me wrong, but seeing what's the saying, method behind the madness. I see why you're acting out, against David, Erica, Justin, Jeffrey, but I don't know why. Like, show me in your past how you were, like, signs of you being extra controlling, being jealous, seeing Jeffrey have homosexual tendencies, but trying to put a stop to it. Those kind of scenes definitely add more to a character's background as to who they are today in the present. That's one thing the Has and the Have-Nots is lacking. I even did a video about how Tyler Perry should have implemented flashbacks to definitely add more layers, depth into the characters on the show, because we would care more about them if we knew about, how they came to be the people they are now. So that's why I feel like maybe Acrimony is giving us a spoiler that maybe at some point within the Has and the Have-Nots, maybe at the end of the series, or maybe before then, or even the end of the season, Veronica Harrington might die, because Melinda's character did die on Acrimony. So with that being said, what do you think of this theory? Do you think that Veronica Harrington is going to be her own undoing? Hey, I didn't even mention the whole Melissa thing. Gosh, what her so-called man Benny, she walks in on him cheating on her allegedly with Melissa. Her soon-to-be ex-husband has a dream house for a slut, and her son is gay and making out with a cop that she doesn't even know, try to run her off the road. There are just so many crazy things. I mean, if Veronica snapped, I can see why, but show some backstory and add her mother to the series. That's all I'm saying. So what do you think? Do you think that Veronica is going to die? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I mean, the biggest video on the channel is, has Veronica's death been confirmed? I think that was something I did a few months ago. That's over 213,000 hits. Let's see if this video can top that. So share it around, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and let's see if we can get this thing going.